A country's ability to feed itself very much depends on three factors: availability of arable land, accessible water, and population pressures. The more people there are, especially in poor countries with limited amounts of land and water, the fewer resources there are to meet basic needs. If basic needs cannot be met, development stalls and economies begin to unravel. In poor countries, attempts to increase food production are undermined by rapid population growth, deepening rural poverty, and widespread land degradation. Lower birth rates, and better land and water resources management are necessary to avert chronic food shortages. Hello everyone, and welcome to SCCI Consultation Incorporated, the place where people come to get knowledge and be inspired. In today's video, we're going to talk about how can the spread of the food crisis be reduced? Let's get right into the video. The decline in agricultural production and food prices are rising, due to increased exports in many countries. The scale of food shortages will increase in many countries, and the risk of a food crisis is growing. More and more evidence indicates that there will be a food crisis in many parts of the world after the recent pandemic economic crisis of 2020. Currently, in 2022, several factors have simultaneously emerged that could lead to a food crisis and hunger in many countries of the world. These include the following factors. Number 1. Record heat, drought, forest, and crop field fires in many parts of the world. In India, record heat reached 50 degrees Celsius, drought throughout the western states of the USA, in Central and Eastern Africa the worst drought in 40 years. Number 2. Small farmers must be assisted by appropriate training, and supplies of necessary inputs to achieve food self-sufficiency. A food farmer must have at least 5 years of reserves for his or her household. This can be gained by working hard in a good season. They recently started urban gardening and vertical farming. These must be encouraged in all societies. Growing food crops in all surplus growing areas, reducing storage losses, and having effective distribution will all help in the ways suggested by other contributors. Different ways to tackle food crisis are preventing soil pollution and conserving natural resources viz. In addition to putting more emphasis on the rational use of inputs based on managing temporal and spatial variability for enhancing efficiency. Focus on precision agriculture technology to lower the likelihood of applied input losses while maintaining productivity and natural resource quality. Number 3. Flooding of farmland in China in 2021. Chinese authorities have announced that the 2022 crop yield could be the lowest in the context of the previous few decades. Number 4. Postcode broken chains of international logistics and supplies in 2020. The Lebanese capital Beirut suffered a gigantic explosion at the port that destroyed all infrastructure, including huge grain silos. For these and other reasons, the number of people in the world at risk of hunger has increased by 80% in the last 5 years, from 108 million to 183 million people. Number 5. Fertilizer shortages and higher prices for fertilizers are also expected to reduce yields in countries that depend heavily on fertilizer imports, such as Brazil, India, France, China, and Australia. This will likely further decrease the volume of grain on the world market. Number 6. Vladimir Putin putting 200,000 Russian troops into Ukraine made the global food situation even worse. Due to the Russian and Ukraine war, production and exports of cereals and other crops from these countries have fallen significantly. Number 7. Before the war, Ukraine was the 5th largest contributor of global wheat exports, 3rd in barley exports, 3rd in maize exports, and 1st in oilseed exports. In Ukraine, areas of fertile Chernozem extend as far as Manchuria. Ukraine produced 9% of the world's wheat, and together with Russia, this is now 30%. Ukraine generated 20% of the world's maize exports. By contrast, Ukraine's exports of sunflower oil account for as much as 75% of the global share. Food exports from Ukraine are estimated to account for 1/8 of all calories sold globally. Most of these exports before the war, that's before February 24, 2022, were loaded onto ships in Odessa and Novorossiysk and transported to the Middle East and other parts of the world. The war has created serious problems for food production and export in Ukraine. The Russians have blockaded the Black Sea ports with their Black Sea fleet. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video till the end. If you like the video, please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. If you want to learn more about global food scarcity, please subscribe to our channel and get notified automatically about our recent upload. Till then, stay safe.